Okay, yep, it's working okay. Thanks for coming out, everyone. My name's John, the founder of TextDater, which is a new dating app with the strapline turning mobile dating on its head. The reason for that is because of the concept behind TextDater. So, if we get started. So, TextDater is based on personality over looks. The way it works is if you imagine Tinder, which I'm sure some people have used here, I've used it myself. It's obviously based on looks, so you judge people on how they look. It's quite simple. With TextDater, it kind of turns that round and you judge, if you will, people on what they say about themselves. So if somebody's got something interesting to say, they may be somebody you want to talk to. If not, you can always skip to the next person. Okay. So I'm not doing a live demo, unfortunately, sorry. It's going to be a few screenshots. But this is the main screen you'll come to. And it's divided into 3 sections. So the first section is the intro. What we've done is we've kept it very short and sweet. So it's about 220 characters. And what that does, it encourages, I should say, people to be a bit more creative with what they say about themselves. If some of you have done online dating, you'll probably remember lots of profiles where somebody says they like nights in, they like nights out, they're their soul at life and soul of the party, all these kind of standard lines. So because it's restricted, you have to actually think of something interesting to say. Okay, the second part of the main screen is the interests. Now, when I say interests, I mean what interests you, who you find interesting, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, things you find funny, maybe some personality traits, things like that. So the idea here is to basically say something that will make you stand out from the crowd. Because as you can see, it's text-based, so you want to say something that people can, you know, sort of catch on to quite quickly. The last part is the yes and no, quite obvious there. If you notice with our Stephanie here, you should be able to see it from where you are, but there's a blurred picture behind. Now, TextDater is personality over pictures, and the pictures come second. So what will happen is when you upload a profile and you do your profile picture, your picture is actually blurred in the beginning, and in order for somebody to see your picture, you have to actually enter into a conversation, and as you're getting along, at some point you can decide that you're ready to swap pictures. Okay. The main messaging screen, quite simple. So the top part is for all your new likes. So anybody who's tapped on the big tick button will appear here, and then you have the chance to review their profile, see if they're somebody you actually want to speak to or not. And below that you have your mutual matches and your chat history, basically. Okay, so getting onto the pictures, like I said, you'd enter into a conversation, and once you're enjoying the conversation, or you're okay, you know what, let's just swap pictures, I'm happy to swap pictures, you then hit the picture button, and then this will ping the other person saying that, yes, you know, I'd like to swap pictures. And if they say they're happy to swap pictures, they'll swap pictures, and you'll be able to see each other's pictures. Okay, so the search criteria is quite simple, like a lot of apps these days, mainly for speed. One of the things that TextDater doesn't do, which a few other dating websites and apps do, is it doesn't give you a predefined set of search criteria, so you don't have tick boxes for smoking, build, you know, outdoorsy types, food, etc. The idea is that people actually put their interest up for everyone to see, and you know, the idea is hopefully you'll find something interesting that you wouldn't normally go for. So if you're an outdoorsy person, you might also be interested in, I don't know, cooking or something like that. And if someone's got that on their profile, hopefully you'll find it interesting enough to start a conversation. Okay, got enough time. I also want to get some feedback on a short video that we've got which is an advert on YouTube and Twitter. It's only 30 seconds long, so I'm going to let this play, if this is going to work. Hopefully it will. Bear with me 1 second, I should have tested this first. Yay, okay, we're good. We're good. Okay.
Spending time with friends is great. Having a laugh, having a drink, catching up. But when they are gone, who do you chat to? TextDater connects you by personality and interests, not just pictures. So what are you waiting for? Download TextDater from the App Store today.
Okay, like I said, short and sweet. And that's it. I would like some feedback on some very specific things. Concept, the design, the market, and the video, but really, do you think it reinforces the concept of TextDater? And that's it from me, so thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Hi there. I think that's a fab idea. It's nice to see something original in the world of dating. Apparently, a lot of text-based dating goes on Twitter. I don't use Twitter enough to have ever tried to find potential mates by being funny, but apparently a lot of people do that on Twitter, so it's quite fun that you might want to introduce that onto an app. The only thing I would maybe add is for people to maybe have a thing that they're saying that day that could maybe pop up on a news feed or something. So another forum in which you could be visible, but by saying something rather than looking like something.
I think I'll get what you mean. So it's almost like a bit of a feed. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, like basically steal off Twitter what they're doing.
Yeah, with
the
trends,
people that use Twitter to try and find people.
That's a good one, actually. In all fairness, I haven't looked too much into the Twitter side of dating, but
me neither. But it goes on apparently.
Yeah, honestly, that's great to know because I'm actually on Twitter a lot. So
brilliant idea.
So we find. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, hi there. I get the idea in relation to the personality and all sorts of what that you're into, etc., etc. But then let's say that you invest a lot of time in having the conversation. I don't know, perhaps 10 minutes or 2 hours, whatever, and then you see the picture, you don't like her. What happens then?
Then you don't like her, or they don't like you. It's
what happens? Don't you think actually then because I don't like the person that I'm seeing, in my case that'll be her, perhaps I wouldn't actually use your app moving forward. Because I reckon actually having a picture is pretty much the default option.
Yeah, no, so this is the thing. The whole concept is going against the grain. So in all fairness, I see what you're saying. If you see someone, you're just like, well, actually, I'm not that interested now.
Why is that any worse than meeting someone and their real life persona is nothing like their photograph? And that's the problem with photograph-based dating, is that you're assessing someone's photograph, not what they actually look like to you. So
fantastic. Couldn't have said it better.
There you go.
I was trying to say.
I'll pay me for that after the.
Thanks.
Right. Do you have any more feedback or questions?
Interesting idea. The first thing I thought of is if you don't like the person, can you mute that conversation or can you hide that?
Yeah, sure.
You can do that.
Yeah, those features are built in. Yeah.
Your first slide said basically putting dating on its head. But I don't think your video said that. I think your video is very cliche, and I think it didn't do justice to what you're actually trying to say.
Sorry, didn't. Sorry.
Your first slide said text dating, turning dating on its head.
Yeah.
But I thought your video was very cliche, very similar to everything else. Like when you're bored, text someone. But I don't think it tells a message that your app's actually trying to do. Your app's more about like not judging people on looks, but judging people on their personality. But I don't think that came across in your video. So that's just feedback for that.
Thank you. Cheers.
That was actually my point as well. I think your video just looks like a kind of generic dating app video, and it doesn't show that, yeah, the main selling point is that you can't see the picture to start with. It's about judging people on their personality. And also the like kind of meet up at the end as well. It's like, obviously your app isn't about on the day meeting, because it sounds like you're trying to build up rapport over some time.
Yeah.
So I don't think it gives across your unique selling point.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
It might also be nice to offer an out at that moment where you see someone's picture and you actually don't like them. So possibly that might be a point where you throw in like, oh, I know you'd be perfectly matched for brother, sister, friend.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's
like that.
no, it's good suggestion. Good suggestion. Yeah, no, I like.
Nice, it's getting better and better.
I think it's a really great idea that you can focus on interests and things like that, so well done. I've got 2 questions. You said you kind of limited the first blurb bit. Does that mean you limit the number of interests that someone can add as well?
Yeah, I should have actually sort of said that. So with the interest, you have a minimum of 4 to get going, and a maximum of 20 at the moment. Depending on how things go over the next sort of 5-6 months, those might change. The intro might become shorter, it might become a bit longer. We're still kind of tweaking that, but that's where we're set at the moment.
Cool, okay. And I have a second question. Is there any way you can build in like a second feed kind of behind those interests maybe? So let's say someone says they really like cooking. If you click on that cooking tab, could you upload like a list of your favorite restaurants or a picture of some kind of meal that you've made or something?
Yeah, interestingly, that's something I'm thinking about implementing in the future, where you have the interest that you're really, really passionate about, and those could be actually clickable or tappable, I should say, and then you might get some more information from there. But at the moment, it's not there at the moment. But it's a good idea, and it's something I've thought about.
Just to know that you've said that you can't define whether you're a smoker or not. I don't know, you've probably not done about whether you're interested in kids, etc. Just interested to understand why you've decided not to kind of filter on some of the key characteristics that people might be really turned off on somebody else about up front.
A couple of reasons. One, to keep the search criteria really simple, so there's not many tick boxes. I understand what you're saying about maybe smoking might be a really big one or something. But also, the idea is to have as many matches as possible. So if something like you say, smoking, for example, is a big deal, within your first few messages, you might, just simply ask that question and move on from there. So it's really about maximizing the matches as opposed to kind of minimizing that group.
Great. I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions. Yep.
In regard to the Twitter link up, it seems like you're perfectly aligned with anyone that would be dating on Twitter. Personally, I have no idea how you would go out and find someone on Twitter to text, but to do whatever with. But if your app could facilitate that, as in you do a WAF login with Twitter with your app, and that goes out and finds your friends and or friends of friends who have been, take that friend of friend list, profile it down to people that are doing some dating-like behaviors, and pull that into the app, and then offer them up to start with. That might be a quick way to generate some kind of viral lift.
Yeah, it's really good. The whole Twitter thing, something new today, and I think it's a really great way to go.
Thank you. Any last question? Yes? That would be the last one.
I also have a comment about your video. I'm kind of curious what you were trying to say through the video, because I think it kind of betrays the idea of the app. It's supposed to be like text dating thing where your looks don't really matter, but the video makes it look like if you use this app, you can get an attractive woman. So yeah. I also don't think that an out button is a good idea, because it also seems to betray the whole concept of the app. I think that if you've talked to someone for long enough, that they trust you enough to reveal their picture, you should accept the responsibility that you're actually pretty shallow and you don't like how they look. And an out button just gives you an easy way out.
Okay, thanks for the comments on the video. What I was trying to get at originally, because it was actually a longer video than this, and I'm glad you said the people in the video were good looking, they'll be quite happy to hear that, is the reason they were in the same bar, just to quickly go over this, because the app's location based as well. So the longer video kind of explains that, but we've had to shorten it down for Twitter, for example. What I was trying to get with the video as well is the fact that you've got all the interests on screen, so it kind of gives a little demo of how the app's working without zooming into it too much. But the feedback today has been pretty good. It's been different to feedback I've got before, but it's been good to know that, yeah, it's not supported as well as I thought. So thanks. The out button, there's not an out button. I don't really think that will be implemented, but hey.
Thank you so much, John. That's all we have time for, so big round of applause.